I'm gonna play Heimerdinger for 10 hours because you all voted and this is what you wanted apparently. First, I looked up the most common items and runes for Heimerdinger, which didn't have a lot of information because he is the lowest played top laner in the game right now. The main mythic item is usually Liandry's, followed by Zhonya's Hourglass, and then a mix of these items. The primary rune is usually Comet, but I watched a couple of videos online and saw some people use First Strike for the extra gold and a free stopwatch. Also, I saw some people use Conqueror, but I didn't end up trying that rune. For summoner spells, you pretty much always go Flash, but you can go Teleport, Ignite, or Barrier for your second summoner spell. My personal favorite was Barrier because it helped you survive in early ganks, but I took Teleport more often for map presence. My first game started off great. Yeah, not really. My Vi tried to dive the Mundo before I was ready, and it was just a complete mess. At the end, I got a kill and I just got executed, so worth, I guess. A little later, my Vi wanted to dive again, but then I got ganked by the support Sejuani and died. Also, Vi died. Then Sejuani tried to gank me again, and even though my ult was awful, my turrets managed to kill her as she tried to escape. Less than a minute later, I tried to crash the wave because Mundo backed, just to find out that he TP'd behind me. This fight was actually surprisingly close, so I didn't feel too bad about dying. No! However, my next deaths did feel pretty bad. In my defense, my 8th death wasn't even my fault. TF should have blocked the Caitlyn ult there. A little later, there was a big fight where I actually did some pretty decent damage and helped save Draven. I definitely didn't die to the bleed at the end. A little after that, we got Elder and won the game. My next game, I was against a Grandmaster Renekton who had the top diff title. Or at least that's what I thought until Morgana popped up in the top lane. Anyway, she must have been Grandmasters too or something because she barely survived our first fight with 3 HP. Also, probably should have used my upgraded W instead of my E, but that's just a rookie mistake. Luckily, a little while later, I managed to get my revenge. Then I got a little ambitious and tried to kill Galio too, which did not end so well. Then Galio came to my lane again and saved Morgana right before she died. I was pretty tilted after this one. How is she not dead, dude? Oh my god, I'm so tilted. Anyway, they ended up surrendering before 20 minutes because apparently their Renekton and Nasus bot lane strategy didn't work out very well. My next game started off with a banger 2v2 with my jungler, and we barely managed to win the fight. A little later, I kinda thought being around my turrets made me invincible, but I got a reality check when Xin just all-in me and killed me out of nowhere. Luckily with my ult, I barely managed to survive his next all-in, just to die to a Karthus gank a few seconds later. Then I had another 1v1 with Xin where I probably should have died but leveled up at the last second to barely live. A little later, I did a Heimerdinger special. Basically, you set up a death bush with a ton of turrets, wait for the enemy to walk by, and then kill him. Then I hit Xin with another Heimerdinger special where I use Zhonya's right before I die and just watch my turrets kill him. Anyway, Karthus got super far ahead this game, and his ult could basically one-shot our entire team, so after a really bad dragon fight, we decided to surrender. So after my first 3 games, I realized just how squishy Heimerdinger is. For the research segment, I watched mostly gameplays of Rezone Games because he's really the only name that shows up when you search Heimerdinger top. From the gameplay, I learned a few things. 1, save my E to stun champions that can all in. In my deaths against Xin, I used my E too aggressively, so after I missed, he could just go in and kill me. 2, put my turrets closer to walls and bushes like Teemo Shrooms. This way they can protect me if I want to run away or if I get ganked. And last, I shouldn't place my turrets all at once. I need to have at least 1 charge at all times in case I get ganked or the enemy goes all in. Otherwise, I'll have no damage. For my last normal game, I got placed mid, and since it was a normal game and Heimerdinger can play mid, I decided to just roll with it. The game started with Lee Sin getting an awesome kill after I wasn't able to finish off the Kayle. A little later, Kayle and I started a fight. I didn't ult because I thought this fight was gonna just be a piece of cake. I was wrong. Then there was a fight in the enemy jungle that Lee Sin and I barely won because Barrier saved me. Honestly, Barrier is an amazing summoner spell for Heimerdinger, and I'm surprised I only used it 1 or 2 times during this challenge. Now let's play the game, Should I Gank Heimerdinger, featuring Rengar. Nope, not even close, you silly goose. A little later, I absolutely destroyed the enemy Kale after landing a single stun, and that's when I realized I could probably carry this game. I'm too good! Oh my gosh, I'm so talented! So there I was, split pushing bot with 300 HP, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, Rengar and Kale try to kill me. I'll give you a few seconds to predict who wins this. Yeah, it was me. Unfortunately, after not backing because I'm greedy, Rumble finally came and killed me. Psych! Maybe an inferior Heimerdinger would have died here, but you're looking at a Heimerdinger god, are you kidding me? Then there was a super messy fight mid lane when we were trying to get the tower, but once again my turrets put in work and we managed to turn a pretty bad fight into a pretty decent fight. A little later we got Baron but lost the Baron fight and everything seemed lost. But in the heat of the moment, Volibear said, "Let me cook," and just like that, this became his video. At first I thought this Volibear was crazy, but then I realized he might be a genius. Not only did my team manage to defend the base, but Volibear was able to win the game, and honestly one of the most exciting game endings I've had in a really long time. And with that, it's on to some ranked games. My first ranked game started about how you would expect. My turrets pushed, I got ganked, and then I traded 1-for-1. A little later, I got Nasus super low and decided to stay and try to kill him. Then Sonic the fucking Armadillo came out of nowhere and ganked me before I could even react. Anyway, after getting ganked a few more times, my lane was pretty much doomed, so I TP'd bot and turned a terrible situation into a double kill that put me back in the game. Then my Zed decided to tower dive top, but I accidentally took tower aggro because of Leandre's and ended up dying to Rammus. Later in the game, my Zed fought a 1v4, and I mean, just look at this. He took no damage and almost killed all of them. This champion is fucking nuts. Anyway, he went back in, got a double kill, died. Zyra and I killed Echo, and that's basically enough for us to win the game. My next game was against a Singed, and I managed to kill him pretty much immediately. Then I killed him again when he tried to walk past the tower and proxy. Then I killed him again, and I don't even know what he was trying to do this time. Eventually I did die to him, trying to bait him into my turret so I could stun him, but he used Ghost, Ult, and Flash, so he was just too fast for me to react to. A little later I had another sick TP gank bot and got a huge upgraded E. It was a little messy, but we managed to get 2 kills and save our super behind bot lane. She's 2-5 with 70 CS? A little later, Neferi and I were setting up a little bit of a death bush, but no! Yeah, Kai'Sa turned around right before I threw my E and it all quickly turned into a huge disaster. Anyway, after messing that up, I decided to kill Singed again to make myself feel a little bit better. In the end, we got Baron, aced them, and just won the game. My next game started off terribly. But in classic Heimerdinger fashion, I got ganked, got a kill, and then got another kill after baiting Skarner back in. Then I traded 1-for-1 with Volibear because I just underestimated his damage. If I had used Stopwatch, I probably would have lived here and gotten some plates, but it was a bit of a misplay. A little later, I actually remembered to use Stopwatch and got a kill. Did end up dying to Zed though. Anyway, this game we were behind all game, but out of nowhere we just destroyed them in the final fight of Dragon. I felt kind of useless in the final fight because Jarvan went so far away from my turrets. And honestly, that's been the hardest part of playing Heimerdinger, learning how to fight, especially if the fight is all over the place and not around your turrets. Well, after 3 straight wins, I'm bound to keep winning, right? Yeah, that didn't happen. I wasn't totally useless though. I did have a couple of big fights like this one. But even though I had a few good moments, I definitely had a really bad game. But I made it up in the next game by absolutely dominating. I will admit, in this last fight, I thought my E was up when I ulted. This stun would have been huge, but since it was down, I panicked and just pressed W instead. What the fuck happened? Yeah, I've definitely mastered Heimerdinger now. Yeah, no. In my defense, I was ganked a couple of times during these deaths, and Irelia can use my turrets to help her dashes, but there was really just no excuse for me dying this much. A little later, I did manage to get a super close kill and barely escape with my life, which was pretty cool. And I also managed to get some very close revenge on Irelia at the end of the game, which again was pretty cool. In the end, it didn't really matter. I basically solo lost us the game. I think this game would have gone a lot differently if Tryndamere and I had switched lanes. It actually would have given us better matchups because Jax could dodge Tryndamere's auto attacks and Irelia could use my turrets for dashes. My next game was super weird. My Elise really wanted to dive Cho'gath, even though I didn't think it was a good idea. You see, Cho'gath is one of Heimerdinger's worst matchups because he can out-sustain most of my poke, so I wanted to play weak side anyway. But a little later, Elise wanted to dive top again, and this time Cho'gath got a double kill. A little later, Shyvana ganked top, and I thought for sure I was dead. But at the last second, she died to tower, I leveled up, and because of that, I didn't die to the Cho'gath Q. Then Cho'gath tried to dive me, and even though I knew there was no way he could kill me, out of nowhere I got ulted by Senna from across the map. I did kill Cho'gath though. A little later, I surprise killed Cho'gath from my death bush, which is always fun. Then I got ganked by Irelia and Shyvana and actually managed to kill Irelia. Then I flashed away from my turrets, and even though I probably would have died either way, it was still the wrong choice. Unfortunately, even though I did pretty well, the enemy team was just too far ahead and we just couldn't kill them. My next game did not start off great at all. I got ganked early and really thought I could 1v2 in my turrets because Malphite had no mana. However, this was my very first game against Briar and I actually just didn't know what she did at this point. Then I died in a close 1v1 top because I didn't realize Malphite still had flash. So after losing lane pretty hard, I did what I usually do and got kills in another lane. Then Echo ganked and we killed Talia again. A little later, I died trying to get the tower top and barely wasn't able to. If I had placed my upgraded turret, I would have probably finished it off, but I really thought I had more time. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I did really bad this game, and the only reason we won was because we had a 21 kill Draven on our team. In the end, I went from Plat 3 0 LP to Plat 2 5 LP. My last game was definitely a weird one. I was against a LeBlanc top, which was not what I was expecting. Anyway, Lee Sin ganked my lane and helped me get an early kill. Then I died trying to bait LeBlanc under tower. In my head, I was gonna flash away from her W, stun her under tower, and then kill her. But I forgot I have the reaction time of an 84-year-old man with nerve damage, so I kinda just stood there and died. A little later, I roamed mid and helped kill Asol, but as you can see on the right, someone on my team was kind of already having a mental boom and wanted to surrender. Anyway, the LeBlanc basically split pushed all game and there was nothing we could do to stop her. If we tried to kill her, she would just dash away, and she was too tanky to kill 1v1. In the end, we lost the game because Asol was fed, LeBlanc was too elusive, and we were just really far behind. Honestly, I am not a huge fan of Heimerdinger. There were definitely a lot of really fun moments, but he just doesn't provide as much as a lot of other meta top laners. He also pushes every game because of his turrets, which puts you at risk of ganks all the time. This is actually why I think Barrier might have been better than TP, because it allows you to actually take those 2v1 fights and maybe win. Not to mention, picking Heimerdinger top usually means your team doesn't have a tank, which can definitely mess up your team comp. Let me know who you want to see next in the comments.